Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Welcome to the brand new channel that dares to ask the question, can you play every video game? Well, we've done it since 1971, every game in order. Here we are in the beginning of November 1982. And we were last playing Cyborg on MS-DOS, the second port so far. Our next release is Cyborg for the Atari home computer. I'll think it's just going to be a different text screen, right, compared to the other ones. Let's check out some Cyborg. Here's the box. It is identical to all the others. It is still fantastic. It is awesome. It looks really, really good. As the Book of Atari Software has stated, Cyborg is very big in gameplay size. Compared to Michael Berlin's other first game, OO Topos, there's 130 mappable locations, including 2 maze-like areas. Mapping is required, as with most games at this time. Each area has to be explored, and the text doesn't always indicate where the exits are. It's not as useful as that. The text is generally well written and is distractingly excessive in some spots, except for the droid. The text has a little humor and sometimes sidelights. It has a well laid out screen display obtained by entering the full scan if you want to see your inventory, what's being worn, a description of your location. One of the challenges, though, of the game is its sheer size. You have to find the proper sequence to successfully attack it. To get off the right track, consider using south, west, down, east as your first moves, and the puzzles are more going to detract from the novel-like nature because this one's written very, very well. Here's the other artwork we have for Cyborg. That's it. That's the screenshots we're going to be seeing. We do have the reference card, or the Atari reference card. This was brought to the Atari by Harry Roy Wilker. Way to go, Harry. Tells us what we have required to play the game and load the game, and then revised data on dealing with a cyborg, because you are kind of at odds with yourself. You have an amnesia, you don't know what's happening in the game, and you have to talk to the other half of yourself. So it explains in this little reference card some help, and we needed that when we played this first on the Apple II. It explains the travel commands as well, and cyborg commands. It has a lot for the text parser, but it is different. It's kind of like when we first ever played a video game that required a text parser. You had to know what the computer had to say. Now you have to relearn all that. As far as the manual goes, it breaks down the story here at the top. When NASA 2, because it's the future, this is a cyberpunk adventure. When NASA 2 told you that becoming a cyborg was a painless experience, you believed them, didn't you? And you volunteered. And that's what we're going to be, is a cyborg. Has some information about dealing with the cyborg. General information, if you play on Applesoft or if you play on DOS, this is just generic manual that you would have seen for all the versions. All right, without further ado, let's pop in and play Cyborg. This is by Michael Berlin, Harry Wilker, Sentient Software at the beginning of November 1982. And this one loads up and looks like some of the other font we've seen for other text adventure games. Hey, no problem. Stop in anytime. We'll always be here, continuing to play every single video game. And this is the load time of what it would be like to experience the disc version on the Atari. Because when the game begins, it asks to flip the disc over. And don't you love it when you load a game and it says you need to reload the game? It takes all that time. So yeah, you flip the disc over. After we flip it over, then press any key. And now we are in. Yeah, Cyborg begins. Same thing that we saw from all the other versions. We don't know who we are. We have amnesia. We have to figure it out. So press any key for more. All right, let's do it. Indications, all scanners on. Medical scanners. This is revealing all the stats that we have. We're at the T of on an east-west dirt path through the forest. A northern path leads through a grove of trees. A tiny lizard wearing a silver spacesuit stands by the path, leaning on a tinier crutch and groans, "Food! Food for the truth." And we're just going to ignore him. We're not going to give him any food. All right, let's go ahead and head west. Best of luck, little talking lizard. We're on a narrow east-west dirt path through a forest of trees. The path is endless, stretching out of sight to both horizons, which means we're lost in the woods. If you're not lost in the desert in an adventure game right now, you're probably lost in the woods. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's keep going south. We're in a clearing in the forest. The trees surrounded us in all directions, but an overgrown path that leads to the south starts here. Still very, very well written. At this point, if you were playing this in 1982, you would get lost in the woods. You'd have to wander around, continue to write things down on your map, and eventually you'd find your way out. Thankfully, we know exactly how to get out. Let's go. From out of nowhere, a snake with 2 heads and 3 arms appears. It spins before us and emits a powerful, sweet odor which mesmerizes us. It spits venom which lands on our face and burns. Uh-oh, medical scanners are telling us we got 3% damage. Not good. We're in a small clearing in a maze of tangled vegetation. The north-south path ends here as further southern movement through this thicket is impossible. A 2-headed snake is lurking nearby. We're going to ignore the snake. I don't want to mess with him. Yeah, right? I don't know. Why can't we talk to the snake, right? The snake moves with incredible speed, bears 2 rows of razor-sharp fangs, goes in for our ankles, and we jump back, but the snake appears undaunted. It circles to the left and closes in. We scramble to the side as the rows of fangs eject an acid venom. Some of the venom lands on our legs and burns. The snake glares at us with hunger and 2 sets of horrifying, intelligent eyes. And now we're in it tells us our damage. We only got 3%. After all that elaborate description, we're in a vast, endless forest whose scope tests my higher-level logic circuits. The trees immediately around us form an unusually dense grove. Not too shabby. All right, let's head south. Unable to comply. We cannot go in that direction. Uh-oh. If we can't go that way, let's try go down. No, we can't. All right, so let's go west again. Oh, which way can we go? We can't even do look. We're used to using look for text adventure games. Vocabulary chip scan reveals the word look is unknown. So this means we got deterred with the snake. Yeah, the snake's going to get us again. Yikes. Okay, so we're in a clearing now. Let's go ahead and head south from here. Oh, we can't go that way. All right, so let's go east again. That snake's going to be following us around. Yikes, damage is 12. So this is a random element. The snake didn't happen on any of my playthroughs, which means if you were to play this, sometimes you got the snake, sometimes you didn't. All right, we're still in the clearing of the forest. Can we go south now? Quick! Yikes. So we're in a north-south overgrown path. That rises through the trees. Below the raised path is a small clearing. The path itself is enclosed by a low metal railing, and littering the path are the incredible number of dead insects. Okay, so this is where we had played this on the MS-DOS version. The dead insects is what we ended up feeding the lizard that was talking to us in the beginning. So now I'd like to go down. Hopefully the snake won't follow us. It does! Oh my gosh! 18 damage. Yikes, it still gets us a bite, even though we go down. We're in the middle of a clearing with trees all around us. Overhead is a ramp that rises to the south, but the railing and ramp are out of reach. A narrow paved path cuts through the trees to the east. Okay, so now we made ourselves down. Let's go ahead and keep going east. Is the snake still with us? It is. It's following us every move. Yikes, our damage is 24. That's terrible. So now we're on the east-west path at the bottom of Steel Canyon. The walls to the north and south are sheer and unscalable, polished metal. I can make out a vast forest to the west while the walls rise and the path narrows to the east. So visually, it reminds me of Zork, how well this is written. It's giving you a really good concept of where you are in terms of everything. Okay, so let's head east again. Is this snake still with us? It is. I have no way to defend myself right now, so I'm just going to have to continue to take damage as that snake... Oh, that's a great idea. I'm probably going to get another bite manually, though. Let's see. To eat the snake would accomplish nothing. No, it wouldn't. It would totally accomplish something. So now we're at the end of the east-west path through a steel canyon. Sheer walls rise overhead and are impossible to scale. Before us is a dimly lit room while a tunnel starts to the north. So we're going to keep going east now. And the snake moves in again. Gosh, terrible. We still get a bite. We're 30% damage. Now we've entered a dark, dank room. A sign on the wall says maintenance personnel only. A set of steps lead up to the south. The other walls are lined with huge machinery cases. There's a pack of matches here, and a pair of sneakers is nearby. So let's get some matches. Take those and get the sneakers. Maybe we won't get bit by the snake on our ankles. I think that would have accomplished a lot. How many times did you argue with computer games if you remember playing these text adventure games? I remember yelling at the computer and being so angry that it wouldn't respond to like a command. Like, of course you should be able to do that. You should be able to understand every command I throw at you. All right, so after we get the matches and sneaker, let's go west, which means the snake's out there. Yeah, he is. Circles to the left, closes in. Uh-oh. Damage 100%. Well, look at that damage. I'm not promising anything, but I might be able to get us back to a point where our damage is within acceptable limits. Do you want me to help? And this would be when it's trying to load, I believe, right? Let's see if we can work as a team and do this better next time. Yeah, so it reloaded a checkpoint right to the beginning. So we died from the snake. We didn't even get a chance to check out the matches or use a dank... Yes, you go into the dank caves. So that's too bad. Well, there you go. A quick taste of what Cyborg was like. Everyone knows, every adventure game, even the brutally difficult puzzle adventure games, you're going to die a lot. You better save a lot. And so here on the show, I don't think we've ever saved. I know we've loaded a few games, but you would want to save and save often because you're going to die quite a bit. I still save all the games we could play up to this point. I'm rating this higher than I did on the Apple II version the very first time we ever played this. Cyborg, of all the games you can play across all computers right now in November 1982, I'm saying 3.5 stars. It is above average for all the games that you play, just slightly above average. All right, so after Cyborg, let's see what our next game is after this commercial break.
Now for your Atari 2600.
Oh, I know that music.
Dark Cavern from Mattel.
It's another M Network game. Dark Cavern is taking over the living room and scaring your girlfriend, apparently.
M Network Dark Cavern.
They're coming for us. I don't know why the TV's doing this. None of the games ever did that for me. It had a surprising effect on me, but nope. So there you go. It's time to play some Dark Cavern, the latest release on your Atari 2600. Let's check it out, starting with the box. M Network. It's back again. Down on the bottom left is the Dark Cavern artwork. Very, very simple artwork. At least it's explaining the game. It's sci-fi. I don't have too much to say. It's another M Network release. You may have already seen this game because we have. This is Night Stalker that we saw on the Intellivision in May 1982. Excellent game. So here it is. Once again, Mattel is bringing home their Atari games and putting them, or bringing home their Intellivision games and putting them on the Atari. Let's flip it over on the back. They go right to the screenshot. It's a one-player game only, 2 skill levels. It says, challenge a friend. I mean, pass the joystick back and forth. You start with 5 men, 20 bullets. Lose your man, he runs into a robot. Very, very nice. Gets the job done. All right, I understand. What other artwork do we have for it? Dark Cavern. We have the grungy look and then the reconstructed look. If you don't want to go back to 1982, you can redo the box. This is the M Network cartridge, all the ones we've seen, and the Dark Cavern cartridge is no exception. Looks like all the others. Make sure you know you're playing... there we go. The actual scan. You're playing Mattel on your Atari. All right, so the manual for Dark Cavern gives us a little bit of insights of what's going on in the game. It is for one player only. The object of the game is to avoid the blobs, spiders, and robots and destroy as many of them as you can. Your man is trapped in the cavern and there's nowhere to hide. Escape the creature bites and keep away from robot fire. Shoot to destroy. Rack up points. It's a bitter fight to the end. It's a battle for survival. It's an underground cavern. So they kind of changed it a little bit. Night Stalker was meant to be you're escaping prison. This one, they're changing the story up. This one, you're in an underground cavern and you're just trying to stay alive, it looks like. It doesn't look like the objective is, yeah, it's escape the creatures, but it's not like we're escaping prison. I like the prison motif better. Over here on the far left side, it's breaking down everything on the screen. You can see your man is here. Hopefully they animate it the same way they did on the Intellivision. It was pretty cool. Controls are all with the Atari VCS joystick. You can pick your difficulty with the difficulty switch, but I don't believe there's any other changes to the gameplay or game selection switch. Shows us how to enter the cavern, what we do, how to move around. We have 4 directions, I guess, only because it's the top-down maze game. And to shoot our gun, breaks down the rules of the cavern right here. You have to go pick up some bullets like you did in the other version. Spiders creep through and can bite you. And then we have over here some winning tips. Wait at a corner when a robot's in a target range, fire. Quickly move around the corner to dodge his bullet. They explain it to us like it's something brand new, but it's not. We played quite a bit of games like this. Berserk is one of the first ones. And then blobs and robots, and then our score down there in the bottom left. We got it. We're ready. Let's pop in at Dark Cavern to our Atari and play. This is brought to us by Hal Finney. Way to go, Hal. Mattel Electronics on your Atari in the beginning of November 1982. This marks the 166th game we've played on the Atari 2600, and Mattel Electronics has been making games for a long time. This is the 62nd time we've seen Mattel make a video game. 41 of them have been on the Intellivision. 8 of them, this is the 8th game that Mattel has brought to the Atari. And then Hal Finney is not new to this channel either. We've seen him 6 times. This is the 6th time Hal's brought us some video games. Keep going, Hal. And I believe we're going to see this game later on home computers too. Imagine that, console games to home computers. All right, so I'm just going to go right in, reset the game, and we're in. There we go. Got a little bit less animation of my guy running around. On the Intellivision, I considered him kind of like a mascot, the running man of the Intellivision. So here it's a little bit simplified, and I can move around and fire some shots, going for the different enemies. Controls are working fairly well. Don't feel anything wrong with it. Oh, the big purple robot's a nuisance, though. We got to get him. That was the gun symbol. If you pick that up, you get some more ammo. As we make our way around, it's very reminiscent for these top-down maze games that have a shooting element. Got him. We have a smart... I don't think we have a smarter robot there. All right, looks pretty good. But this one is more about, can you survive long enough? Because there's not like an exit. If I, let me get some more bullets. If you look at the top right, it shows my bullet count. I got 35 right now. But if I go over here to the side, there's no way to even warp to the other side like you did in Pac-Man, or go to the next screen like you did in Berserk. Everything is happening right here on this screen. And this one is after Wizard of War. Wizard of War was in the arcade. We've seen one port that came home on the Commodore Max machine, and we've also seen one that was on the Bally Astrocade, the Incredible Wizard. And that one is fantastic. So it's still kind of rare to get a classic top-down shooting game like this. That's a good point, though. There's no evil auto. I'm all for that. So the first biggest difference is the controls compared to the Intellivision. On the Intellivision game hand controller, you had the disc to move around, but then you used the overlay on your numpad to fire. So you essentially had one controller that was allowing you to do like twin stick movement. You can move and fire at the same time. Here you don't have that. This also feels a little bit slower paced because on the Intellivision, you can change the game modes up and pick different speeds. This one's just one. I believe there's a different... Oh, that's right. There's a difficulty switch you can pick, but that's it. There's only one other difficulty. It doesn't have as many options as the Intellivision version. And this one's just about survival. How long can you last? I felt like there was more to the Intellivision game, or at least it felt like it was a bigger experience. This one, it seems more simplified. And 2 versions of this game exist. The PAL version of this is called Night Stalker on the Atari, just like it was on the Intellivision. And it has a score, reserve live, and bullet counters above the playfield. And the reserve lives and bullet counters are in separate spots, so it switches up a little bit. It doesn't specify in the manual. You can use either joystick left or joystick right. Oh, I'm surprised he got by on. Let's see if he's going to go. He's not going to go that way. Okay. So we're not going to be showcasing all the different regions, but it is different whenever you play this on the PAL region. The instructions also state that there's a... Oh, he got me. The spider stops you in your tracks. That there's a 2-headed robot that will appear when the score reaches 20,000 points, but it actually only happens when you hit 16 robots. And they're destroyed. It doesn't matter about the score. So the manual has made a mistake. Not the first time we've seen that either. Go, go! There we go. Yes. Okay, we're looking pretty good. So of all the games we've seen up to this point on the show, this marks the 24th Berserk variant. Kind of plays similar to Berserk, the 24th across all systems. I would say this is not as good as the Intellivision version because of the different controls, and it feels like this is a little more simplified. So it's a dumbed-down version compared to that one. I would actually rather play Escape that we saw on the Arcadia 2001. Another variant of Berserk, or Marauder that was available for the Atari 2600. Oh gosh, he's following me. I don't know if we can get these bullets. We're down to 25. We missed that one. And then the official Berserk is also on Atari. I'd rather play the official Berserk. Yes, you can play Berserk at home. than this one. So this one is not as higher quality as some of the other versions, but still all right. Oh, they can steal. I hope they can't steal the ammo. Oh, really? You like this one way more? The Intellivision, I would say I like this way more than Marauder. Because Marauder on the home computers, it allowed you to have a different game mode before you got to the top-down view. But on the Atari, it was just the top-down. It seemed like there was more stealth involved. Yeah. So of all the games you could be playing across all home consoles, this is still very good. Still close to the average range for titles up to this point. But if you explain everything or see everything that's been on the home console world, there's other ones out there that I would rate higher. But I'd still say this is pretty good. So looking over the chat, I see Charlie's throwing out 4 stars, Manly's 3.5, 3.5, and Brian 3.5. I'm going to say the same, 3.5 stars and 11. If only we went that far. 3.5 stars for Dark Cavern, above average of all the games you could play right now across all home consoles. It's better on Intellivision, just a little bit. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. It's time to go on the IBM PC and see what's going on. This is Datnoids. Datnoids. I don't know how to describe the title. So, and we're going to go into it a little bit more. This one was first available free to play, possibly on a BBS. I don't know for sure, but I did see some proof here in PC Disc Magazine. They have it. Look down at the bottom. Datnoids survive the Animator maze while blasting barriers. But this one came out just a little bit later. The first time I ever saw a proof that it was released was here in November 1982. You can see, there we go, a little bit cleaned up manual of PC Disc Magazine. And then just flip it over and show you. Oh, there it is. Datnoids. Twist and turn and weave your way through an imminent catastrophe, blasting holes to clear your barricaded path. The truly daring will run these mazes at ever higher speeds. Beware your touch and be quick and sure, for any abrupt stress on the hyperdrive spells doom. I'm not sure what that means. If you did have it on the disc that you got from PC Disc Magazine, it was available here. This is most likely where we got our copy, but it was available before this, with an example of a screenshot. All right, so this one is time to go with Datnoids. Yeah. Bring Us There by Casey Roche. Way to go, Casey. Oh, the IBM PC speaker. I love the way it sounds, even though it's very simple. So this marks the 121st game we played for MS-DOS, PC-DOS, PC Boot, or anything that was on IBM computers right now, because there's a lot of models of IBM computers. And because this is a free game, a public domain game that came out, this is the 57th game that was just released free, possibly on a BBS, possibly from other sources. Not to be confused with a type-in game. That's a different one. This one was actually released. All right, so enter our skill level here. Let's go with skill level, I'm going to go with 2 for right now. And then we have 3 different mazes we can pick from. I'm going to go with maze number 1. And then now it's going to load for us. The magic of loading. In this, we're going to be playing a game of maze navigation. It's all text graphics, so bask in the text graphics. We're going to guide our vehicle from the bottom right of the screen towards the exit in the top left, avoiding any messy encounters with walls. The game has 3 different mazes. Oh, it's going to continue to prepare. Yeah, it's going to load for us. The test mode. Of the 3 mazes, the first 2 have fixed layouts, but the third maze is random. So you have a random maze. It has 10 skill levels, and then can go higher as the action gets faster. Some of the walls can be fired at to gain passage. Others have a tendency to send your missile flying back at you, so there's ricochet. If you finish one maze, you'll warp to the next one, and then if you get to the third one, then it'll start randomizing. I don't know what the reference is of Datnoids, because that is a reference to the eponymous species of freshwater fish, but there's nothing about fish in this game whatsoever. There's missiles, there's antimatter walls, there's hyperspeed jumps. That's pretty much all they have in the game. All right, look down at the controls though. AZ quote colon and then missile. Oh gosh, I'm not even ready. Oh, yeah, I wasn't even okay. Now I'm prepared. You have immolated yourself. I don't think I've ever done that in a video game. All right, they're just going to begin and go. That looks like they're redrawing some of it too. It starts off and it's like a track. So ready? I have to go. There we go. Go to the right, and then I got to fire a shot. It's going to open up my way to pass through. I can pass through. Now I'm going to go down and then go to the right, fire. I don't know how I'm going to make it to the top. It is so hard to move around. Wow, yeah. Make sure my controls are right. I have immolated myself with the antimatter walls. Yeah, some of the walls would shoot back, or they ricochet back, possibly. I don't know how far I'm going to get. This feels like it's not really a top-down maze game. This feels more like I'm playing a puzzle game. It's action because you have to respond quickly. But man, it's very, very quick. Nope, why didn't it go to the right? Am I on the right one? Yeah, I'm on the right one. You have immolated yourself again. I need to stop doing that. Oh, you really did? Yeah, this is very tough. It reminds me of a much later game that we played called The Irritating Stick. That we have not played, and we're probably never going to play that one. Go, go, go. Nice and easy. Going up or down is where it feels... Uh-oh. Oh, and you can't go back into yourself. Kind of like a snake game. This plays a little bit more like a light cycle game, actually. The way I'm moving around. I'm just don't have any competition. There's no one fighting me on my light cycle. Yeah, the PC sounds. They're using the IBM PC speaker. All right, let's try it again. And it's interesting that the way it's drawing in, it doesn't redraw everything. It's like it's picking and choosing what to redraw. All right, here we go. Make it to the top. Oh, I wonder why my right isn't working. Oh, I think it's because you have to do a apostrophe. And I was pushing the wrong. Okay, let's try skill level 1. Maybe we'll go even slower. And switch it up. Let's see what maze number 2 looks like. But it is going to have to load and draw the whole thing in. So it's not a competitive light cycle game, but it plays identical to that. This is the 18th game we played that has anything to do with that light cycle style video game, even though one of the very first games we played wasn't a light cycle game like Tron. It was called Barricade in the arcade. So we could call them Barricade variants. I've learned too often here on the show, we're playing so many games that when I think the game is released as the first game that we base everything on, it actually stemmed from something earlier than that. So much to discover. All right, so here we go, test 2. Maybe I should have picked 1 because test 2 is most likely going to be more difficult than the first one. It draws everything in for us. It's time to play some Datnoids. Now, the reason I would say this is not as impressive or fun is because of the control scheme. The awkward controls on keyboard we've seen before, but this one's really awkward. If you look down at your IBM computer, you'd see the keyboard is having to use the bracket for the top is a little off. And we played plenty of games that use joystick up to this point. All right, here we go. Did I make it? I don't believe it. How did I make that? Oh, I pushed the wrong one again. You have immolated yourself in the antimatter wall. So an interesting concept. It is simply just a top-down maze game where you have to make your way to the end. It's like they've taken the puzzle maze, make your way to the end of the puzzle, but they're adding action elements to it. It's not really a shooter. It is something unique, but we've seen 1 or 2 games with a similar idea. Uh-oh, it's going to bounce. And there's the ricochet. Since it's so brutally difficult, and because of the controls using keyboard only, I got to go low. I'm looking over the chat. I see Paul's throwing out a 2-star. That's a bad rating, or the best you could say for bad, anywhere around the 2-star. And I'm thinking the same thing. It's a rough experience, that's for sure. Now you're seeing the load time, though. Even on an IBM at this point, you'd be getting most of the games loading faster than usual. Oh, it ricocheted. It did the... Oh my gosh, it's so difficult. A -2 from Ken. Oof, that's rough. And I see a 2.5, mostly 2.5s. Very kind, not really calling it bad, but around the middling average range. Yeah, I'll say because the randomness is a cool idea to do for level 3, but oof. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop there and say for Datnoids, of all the games we've played up to this point, joystick-controlled games, even on the IBM, exist. But across all the home computers, the joystick or controller is what really is going to make this better or different. And because it doesn't have it, it's a little bit low. Yeah, right? It's not really possible. Yeah, so I'm seeing mostly 2.5s from the chat. I'm not going to be as kind. Playing it myself, of all the games you could play up to this point, I'm going to say 2 stars for Datnoids. It's a bad game of all the games you could play right now, but it's the best of the bad. It's a cool idea, and it's going to be polished, released better in other ways later, but not this one. Yes, we're going to do that, Paul, for sure. All right. That's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks so much for joining me, playing every single video game, especially those on the live chat. Be sure to tune in and be a chronologically gaming influencer. Send in your ratings right now because I see them in the chat while we're going over game by game. And since no one's done this before and played every single video game, I'm not quite sure what their rating would be because every now and then I fluctuate back and forth. So it's really helpful. Be sure to tune in next time on Chronologically Gaming because we have Prepare to be dazzled when we go to the arcade. And are you ready for another new computer from Japan? That's it for today, and like I always say, more bits, more bytes, more fun. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.